From getting stabbed in the worst possible place to one of the most macabre window decorations of all time, here are some of the most brutal moments in Terrifier 2. The sequel picks up where the original left off. Art the Clown has risen from the dead and wreaks havoc on the coroner's office. The opening scene is certainly not for the faint of heart. After bludgeoning the coroner with a small medical tool, Art plucks out the man's eyeball and inserts it into his own head, replacing the one he lost at the original film's climax. Art proceeds to hammer the coroner's body and skull. The coroner becomes literal minced meat, and Art doesn't stop there. He pulverizes his victim until the skull cracks, and he pulls the two halves apart. A brain throbs inside, and Art removes it and holds it up to the light. The moment sets the tone for what the audience can expect from the film. Even so, no one could possibly be ready for what's coming next.
You think that guy's still out there?
What's up with you and this clown all of a sudden? You're like obsessed.
They never found his body.
Art puts Jonathan through the ringer. In the film's epic conclusion, Art initially only slashes Jonathan with a scalpel, leaving shallow cuts on his face and back. Art then goes full ham and pulls out a length of chain from his garbage bag. He whips it above his head and starts to savagely beat Jonathan. He falls to the floor and begins crawling away. But Art continues to strike the young boy with the metal links. Sienna soon arrives and shields her brother from any more torture, the chain tearing her own flesh. The scene is graphic and truly uncomfortable to watch. For a film with nauseating gore and grisly violence, this moment demonstrates Sienna's unconditional love for Jonathan. Their bonds run far deeper than blood. One of the most gruesome moments centers on Sienna's friend Allie. After stalking her home, Art brutally attacks the young girl by first slicing her face and then taking a pair of scissors to her scalp. He rips off the skin and the hair and flings it at the wall. He begins slicing and dicing up her back and slowly peels the skin from her bones. Her screams are chilling. He continues peeling her like a banana until no skin remains on her body. Leaving her to crawl across the floor, Art retrieves a bottle of bleach and some salt. He moves in and pours both in generous amounts over her bloody, mutilated body. When her mother returns home sometime later, Allie is somehow still alive. In her bedroom, Art has drenched the room in blood and laughs upon seeing her mother's reaction. Deranged doesn't begin to describe the moment. During a trip to the costume shop Abracadabra to pick up a pair of angel wings, Sienna encounters Art the Clown. She initially believes him to be the Miles County killer, but later suggests to her brother that it was just some freak trying to scare her. Her first instinct was correct. After she leaves the shop, Art buys a trumpet-style bicycle horn and rummages through his garbage bag for cash. He picks through his belongings, removing various items like a meat cleaver, a beer bottle, and a hacksaw. The costume shop owner is having none of it. Art eventually picks out the correct money, but things quickly change when the owner threatens to call the cops. Art grabs the beer bottle off the counter and slams it into his head. He then picks up the meat cleaver and starts chopping away at the man's skull and neck, eventually severing his head completely. Moments later, Art poses with the head in the shop window, and people passing by believe it to be part of the decorations. Barbara is a textbook stressed-out single parent. She means well, but her frequent emotional outbursts suggest she still hasn't recovered from her late husband's suicide. She's doing her best to parent Sienna and Jonathan, though. She loves and adores them, and that's what matters most. That makes her death scene one of the most brutal and unexpected in the film. Following an argument with Jonathan, who dashes away into the night, Barbara discovers that her car is covered in shaving cream and toilet paper. Needless to say, she's not too happy and calls Sienna to express her frustrations. While Barbara is cleaning up the driver's side window, Art surprises her with those beady, piercing eyes of his. He whips out a sawed-off shotgun and pulls the trigger. Barbara's head explodes, and her scalp flies in the air and slaps against the wall. When you're done picking your jaw off the floor, you may be a little nauseated. When Sienna freaks out at the party, Brooke and her boyfriend Jeff decide to give Sienna a ride home. Brooke is more than a little concerned about her best friend, but also expresses her annoyance over what happened. For the time being, it's best that both sleep off their Molly-induced high and deal with it in the morning. Meanwhile, Art has taken Jonathan hostage after injecting him with a sedative and is on his way to the now abandoned carnival. His hallucination, in the form of the little pale girl, calls up Sienna and pretends to speak as Jonathan, luring her to the carnival. Once there, Brooke and Jeff stay behind to wait. In the middle of their makeout session, Jeff takes a bathroom break behind the car, and he gets the fright of his life. Art pops out of nowhere and stabs Jeff in the groin, over and over and over again. It's as explicit as you might expect, but it still might make you squeamish. Immediately after Jeff's death, Brooke runs for her life into the carnival. There's no other place to go. She screams for Sienna and then takes refuge in a blood-caked bathroom. Now there is absolutely no escape. Brooke clutches a random 2x4 to ward off Art, and it's a failed effort.
Stay back. Stop, please, stop! Stay away from me!
Art raises his makeshift morning star, but he doesn't swing. Behind his back, he holds a jar of acid and flings its contents into her face. Her skin pops and bubbles and slips from her skull. That's when Art begins swinging his bludgeon at her back, knocking her to the ground. Blood spews on the bathroom walls. Art continues to cruelly tear Brooke apart. He cracks open her chest and removes her heart. In a move we should have seen coming, he takes a big ol' bite out of the fleshy organ. Even monsters have to eat. Sienna earns her place in the pantheon of final girls in the third act. She's been beaten, thrown around, kicked, and ruthlessly whipped. She somehow gathers up what strength she has left and wields a primal rage to get oh-so-sweet revenge. After bludgeoning Art's skull with a metal rod doesn't work, Sienna seizes her father's sword. She slices into Art's neck. Blood cascades down his clown outfit. He then hilariously stretches out his neck for her to chop. She takes a swing, and then another and another and another. In line with what Sidney Prescott would do, she needs to make sure he's unmistakably dead.
Not in my movie.
She cuts even deeper until his head is completely severed from his body.